pretty excited about today's episode of Microgenres. That's right, today's microgenre we're calling action twins. The idea is pretty simple. At the heights of an action star's powers, they can sometimes take on a project where they play their own twin. But not all twins are created equal. That's true. For example, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Twins is not playing both twins, nor is it an action movie. Or the fantasy movie The Barbarians, starring the Barbarian brothers. Well, the idea real here life twins is that so they don't count. Right, well, the idea here is the vanity involved in doubling up on an action star's value. So we'll include movies here where the action star is cloned. The movie needs to revolve around the twin idea as a production so that it's a selling point. So for example, I don't know that Chris Rock would ever be considered an action star. That's true, but he was in Lethal Weapon 4. Yeah, he got a shot to lead a Jerry Bruckheimer action thriller, Bad Company, with Anthony Hopkins. In it, Rock plays his own estranged twin brother, who unbeknownst to him was an FBI agent. And he dies, and now Rock has to step in to finish his brother's last case. Except that he dies at the start to set up the movie, and the rest we don't get any twin action. Right, well, we'll talk about Van Damme's Maximum Risk later, which also uses the same plot dynamic where one twin dies early on, like in Gary Daniels' Cold Harvest. Who? This is for action stars only. Gary Daniels is an action star, a martial artist. He has over 80 film credits to his name and titles like American Street Fighter and Blood Fist 4, Die Trying.
Or Die Trying.
He's worked on movies with Jackie Chan, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and Wesley Snipes. He was in Tekken and Fist of the North Star, and he was in The Expendables. Alright, I think we've established his bona fides in the action star thing. He's a direct-to-video action star. Yeah, okay. Cold Harvest, a post-apocalyptic movie where he plays a badass sort of western spaghetti-style gunslinger of the wasteland who is protecting his murdered twin's pregnant wife, played by the great Barbara Crampton.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Cheaply made, but ambitious. One of the common tropes of the twin movie in general is how each twin is very different from the other. No, they aren't. Yes, they are. Look, Hayley Mills in The Parent Trap plays a rugged outdoors-type tomboy and also a little princess. Okay, you're gonna bring up a non-action movie from the 60s that nobody alive has even heard of anymore? Okay, look, the entire premise of Twins is how different DeVito and Schwarzenegger are. That's a comedy, right? And they're doing it on purpose. Okay, the best example I can give you is Twin Dragons starring Jackie Chan and Jackie Chan. Jackie stars as twin brothers who were separated at birth, and while one becomes a successful concert pianist...
Continue.
The other twin... I think, in my opinion, the special effects were the weak part of that movie. Alright, fair.
Weird. I don't know about you, but I think I'm going crazy. Wow. It's strange, isn't it?
But just so you know, this movie inspired a series of successful Indian movies. In 1994, there was Hello Brother, which was remade twice in 1997, like twin movies, and again in 2017. Well, the only reason that we're not going to get into any of these movies is they are missing one key ingredient: an action star. Now, we mentioned Twins and Arnold Schwarzenegger before, but that's not the movie that I would put on this list. And now, you'd pick The Sixth Day. Yeah, except you think that clone movies shouldn't count. I mean, look, it's still a vanity project for an action star, and regardless of how it's achieved in exposition, the result is still the same. Double the dude. Alright, fine. I'll allow it. Even though it's weak in comparison to Arnold's classic 80s and 90s work, The Sixth Day is close to getting there. You could almost imagine this script being like a spiritual successor to Total Recall in a bunch of different ways. Plus, we got Michael Rooker and Mike Rapp. This was Terry Crews's first movie, I would call it a mid-tier level Schwarzenegger movie.
Totally Total Recall.
Well, they do have that weird Uncanny Valley Johnny Cab Simpal thing.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cat. Where can I take you tonight?
So don't let life pass you by. Call Recall for the memory of a lifetime.
For the memory of a lifetime, recall, recall, recall.
Never mind the entire Philip K. Dick style, am I the real me if I'm the clone, am I my memories or the knowledge of my body?
So why wasn't it as good as Total Recall?
Just not as strong of a story in my opinion. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's one main weak spot is when he tries to play a normie character. All his most iconic roles, Terminator, Special Forces, Commando and Predator, Conan, and even Twins, what makes him so funny is the absurd juxtaposition, because he's so big and different looking. But it was filmed in Vancouver.
Okay. So if clone movies are in, then does that mean alternate universe movies are in? Like Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once was pretty cool, but I guess she doesn't really interact with herself all that much in the movie.
Wait, are we getting off clones already? Because we didn't talk much about Resident Evil, where Milla Jovovich is cloned like a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, and then they're all immediately slaughtered, and it's not really the main plot, and not a single twin situation really arises. That's the danger of clones.
Okay, what about Multiplicity with Michael Keaton? There's 3 dupes, but that still counts, right?
Not an action star.
He was Batman!
So was George Clooney.
Well played. What about The Adventures of Pluto Nash?
What about it?
Well, Eddie Murphy was cloned. It was the point of the movie. He was in action movies like Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, 3, and Metro, and he played his own twin in Bowfinger.
You're doing great.
You're gonna be a star.
Yeah, I guess. It's just that we don't spend the time with the clone in Pluto Nash except for one scene.
I guess. The plot of Pluto Nash pretty much does revolve around that twist, though.
Alright, fine, whatever. Let's talk about The One with Jet Li.
Wait, you want to do The One, but not Resident Evil?
Yeah.
First, in The One, we mainly focus on 2 main jets. The others are funny jokes and cannon fodder. But we get the same action twins effect, that vanity exploitation of doubling our main star as the main concept.
Yeah, I guess.
Jet Li's pretty thin as the lead, though.
Yeah, but he's surrounded by a pretty good ensemble with Carla Gugino, Jason Statham, and Delroy Lindo.
And the axe grab never gets old.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Fine, you got any more?
Well, I was thinking about how weird it is that Chow Yun-fat, who is an incredibly iconic action star, got to play twins in one of the greatest action movie series of all time.
But only because he was killed off in the first movie, and bringing up his long-lost brother was the only conceivable way to have him in part 2, right? It's ridiculous. You know?
Come on! Come on! Yeah, 好甜㗎。食啦。食啦，食啦。
Okay, that's a perfect segue back to the clone movie that I wanted to mention. So we know Maximum Risk didn't have any twin screen time, but now we're talking about clone movies, and that brings me to my personal favorite on this list, Replicant. Okay, it's really something special, and we need to take a few minutes to dissect this magnificent beast of a movie. In Replicant, JC plays both a serial arsonist, total psychopath, French-Canadian. It also filmed in Vancouver, by the way. The Torch, I think that's what he's called, is being pursued by a good cop on the edge, played by Michael Rooker, and eventually the Rook finds a bit of the Torch's blood at the crime scene.
So that's it, right?
CSI the shit out of this, and we'd be
Except
done.
that this is a Van Damme movie.
You're Van Damme right. So instead, they use a blood sample from the Torch in order to clone him to track him. How, you ask?
the psychic connection that all clones share. It gets crazier. Rather than treating him like a human with respect because his genetic duplicate is his sworn mortal enemy, Michael Rooker just like beats the crap and straight up abuses Jean-Claude Van Damme. Well, the haters are gonna hate and make jokes.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
But this is one of my favorite all-time JCVD movies, and I've got them all.
Me too.
All right, it's so very different from anything else that he's done, and it's crazy. Rooker anchors the movie, and as silly as it sounds, I really cared about the character. That does sound a little silly. So we have this one last action twins movie to mention, Double Impact, with the third Jean-Claude Van Damme. Dude played his own twin 3 times. I know, right? You know, he was supposed to come back in The Expendables again. He played Jean Villain and was killed.
Amazing.
But he was supposed to return as his own brother, Claude Villain. Amazing. Beto. Double Impact came early on in his filmography and has both the most twin screen time and also some of the worst matting to create the illusion.
Did you hear what he just told us? These were our parents. Look at them.
I hear all kinds of bullshit every day, pal. You want some advice? Take your fancy clothes and your black silk underwear and go back to Disneyland.
Now, much like Twin Dragons, which was only released a year later, Van Damme's twins were separated at birth, becoming very different people, and then they only reunite to get revenge for their parents' murders. So I think it's undisputed that Van Damme is the king of action twin movies. Can we agree on that? For sure. High five? Sure. Whoa!